What's up, Fam of Liberty? It's AdminTim, aka Big Sarge from Sons of Liberty. So a while back, I took a few of the common comments that we see on the page and sort of ended up doing a little bit of a Q&A. I decided to post on both our Facebook page and the YouTube community tab on our YouTube channel and solicit questions for a Q&A. I've actually got the comments written on a dry erase board that is sitting in front of my phone, which is where I'm recording from my kitchen. So I'm not going to wax poetically. Let's just go ahead and dive right in. How can we best support your work and help extend your reach? Follow us on all the social medias, share our content, get others engaged in that content, comment on our content. That also helps boost visibility and it positively affects our metrics. Also, support our work by keeping us honest and keeping us on target because we believe in accountability. Next question. What motivates you to lend your voice to what's happening in politics? I didn't, and my family didn't, and my friends and buddies didn't sacrifice their blood, sweat, and tears serving this country just to see some fascist wish.com wannabe tyrant try to hijack our democratic process. I know this country has a dark, seedy, shitty past. I know this country isn't perfect, but I firmly believe in its capacity to do good. And if you disengage in that process, you're not really helping. Next question. What state or country are you originally from? I grew up all over, so I don't really have a place that I consider home except wherever I currently live. I tend not to talk about myself too much because, unfortunately, the admin team has had a lot of people try to dox us, people reaching out, threatening us, trying to get more information on who we are, where we live, things of that nature. Next question. Are all the Sons of Liberty veterans, or is the common denominator your love of our country and democracy? So currently I'm the only veteran on the admin team. There have been other veterans on the admin team in the past. Next question. Do you think any veterans who didn't receive a less than honorable or dishonorable discharge still side with Trump? I don't know this. I don't really know the characterization of this discharge status on veterans who support Trump, and I generally try to shy away from attacking anyone's service, even J.D. Bowman, aka Vladimir Futon. I mean, I know he's done it to others, and to me, that's an integrity violation. I've talked about veterans who support Trump in a previous video. That first one that really went viral about Project 2025's impact on the veteran community, so go give it a watch. Next question. I want to know about your favorite historical anti-fascist movement and why. My favorite anti-fascist movement is the US military killing fascists in the early mid to 1940s over in Europe. And my second favorite anti-fascist movement is the Sons of Liberty. Why? Because fuck Nazis and fascists, that's why. Next question. Is the Sons of Liberty regional or national? We're an internet community. That ties in with the next question. Are there any plans for starting local physical chapters of SOL to support, train, and encourage each other? So we're not an organized group with a physical presence. I feel like there's a lot of legal and commercial work that would have to be done, and I don't have the bandwidth to do that. I also feel like it'll put a target on our back from both law enforcement perspective, but also with the wrong sort of people. There are other groups out there called Sons of Liberty. Not all of them are good. In fact, one of them is pretty January 6th insurrectionist. Next question. Have y'all ever thought of light interviews for some of our illustrious page fams? I reached out to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez one time and I got a canned response. I also reached out to Marcus Flowers, a veteran who was running against margarine trader greed in Georgia a few years back, and that never materialized. I would absolutely love to interview June Cho, and I've asked several times, but he's never responded. I'm planning to do a show with Political Drain and have them on our channel, the way they did for us last week. Next question. You have mentioned you used to be on the right. What was the turning point for you? How did this affect you socially? Did this impact your familial relationships as well? And what advice would you give to those who are ready to make this change? I started losing faith in the Republican Party and George W. Bush in the 2004 election cycle, and after that it just kind of went downhill. When the Republican Party and the Tea Party started shooting down veteran-focused legislation after they sent us into 2 war zones, that was the end of it for me. That was around 2007. Now, I would have voted for John McCain in 2008, but then he got Sarah Palin as running mate, and the second that she opened her mouth, I lost all interest. My politics never affected any familiar relationships, Advice that I give to people who are ready to jump ship from the GOP: that ship sailed and it's taken on water. My advice to you is to go Libertarian Party if you can't stomach the idea of voting for anything considered liberal. Now, the Republican Party is dead. It's now the party of Trump. Nobody is ever going to support it again who isn't already a diehard cultist. Even if that party switch platform is back to being a bunch of radical progressives who wanted to free black people and crush insurrectionists like they did in the 1860s, I still wouldn't go back. It's permanently stained. Next question: have either of us have personally influenced MAGA friends or family members who transitioned out of the cult? What was the deciding factor, and are you willing to share those pivotal moments and experience? My father, who's a Marine and a conservative Methodist minister, is probably as close to an ideal Christian as I can think of, and for me, that's really saying something. My father voted for Trump in 2016, but by 2020, I'd kind of talked him out of it. I just appealed to a sense of true faith in God and his patriotism. Next question: do you ever think you'll allow formerly close friends and maggots back in your life? Is there anything that they can do to regain your trust or respect? I would allow them back in my life if they had completely broken with the party of Trump. Full stop. Next question: what did you do in the service? I was in the Army for 10 years. I did a lot of cutting the Sergeant Major's grass. I did a lot of motor pool Mondays. I did a metric fuck ton of push-ups because I was a mouthy asshole. And I did a lot of dog and pony bullshit. I did some infantry stuff. I did some military intelligence stuff. Worked at the National Security Agency. Went to DLI a bunch of times. I did a bunch of deployments. And my claim to fame is, for anyone who ever went to the National Training Center at Fort Irwin in the 90s, I was the Mad Whacker. You'll have seen my graffiti in several hundred different porta shitters. Next question: I think I know the answer, but who's your favorite wrestler? Do you have a favorite tabletop pen and paper game? My favorite wrestler used to be Hulk Hogan back in the 80s. Obviously not anymore. I was also a huge fan of the Hardy Boys and Stone Cold Steve Austin from the Attitude Era. I stopped watching around 2005, so now I'm just hopelessly out of date. I was also a fan of the Iron Sheik and Sergeant Slaughter back in the day as well. Next question: favorite tabletop pen and paper game is, hands down, it's D&D. Now, I haven't played D&D in person at a table for a very long time, but some of the page admins and gamer buddies who also follow the Sons of Liberty have a D&D game with me on Discord, so I DM for them online. I use a program called Tailspire to build the maps, and we've integrated that with Hero Forge and D&D and Beyond, and some other Discord bots like Avray. When I play, my preferred classes are usually Paladins or Psionists, and I think I identify more with Dwarves as a preferred player race, even though you didn't ask. Next question: how can I, as left-leaning, broach subjects with my right-leaning colleagues? I guess find out what their beliefs are, research those topics thoroughly, and be prepared to talk about your points of view and what facts you bring to the table to support it. Now, you won't be able to change any minds, but we've all got our kinks, I guess. Next question: what's your favorite joke? Anything that's funny and punches up. I don't really have a favorite joke, to be honest with you. My favorite comedians right now are Sam Miller and Brent Terhune. Look them up on Facebook. Next question: tell us about a time you were disrespected and how you handled it. In my personal life, I guess the time that I had an ex cheat on me. I didn't handle it well at all, and there's not really an excuse that I have that would justify behaving that way. In my political life, I have been disrespected by MAGA clowns multiple times a day. The same people who thanked me for my service before they knew my orientation, my political orientation, would just as soon spit in my face and talk shit once they knew. In my professional life, I've had somebody publicly challenge my integrity. And the thing about me is, I keep the receipts. So I'm not afraid to embarrass myself in public either. I mean, have you seen some of my videos or the photos that I posted on the Facebook page? Anyway, I stood up, literally, and used my parade ground sergeant's voice, and I started citing events that I knew could be verified, and I spilled the tea all over the receipts, as they say. Next question: you said you speak several languages. What languages are they, and what are some of the easiest languages to learn, etc.? Challenging. I learned French and German in high school. I studied Italian so I could impress an Italian girl that I was dating. And through the military, I've learned Chinese, Arabic, and Spanish, all at the Defense Language Institute out in Monterey, California. I think Chinese was the easiest because there's virtually no grammar. It's all vocabulary and learning how to write characters. I'm what's called a language sponge, so that's easy for me. Arabic was really difficult for me because it was the first language that I learned that didn't use Latin characters, which are basically the standard alphabet used by Romance languages and English and German, for example. Next question, what does the chopped up snake mean and where does it come from? The chopped up snake is attributed to Benjamin Franklin in his 1754 political cartoon Join or Die, which was to show disunity for the American colonies and urging them to unite. Next question, is SOL merch only for vets? Is it stolen valor to wear them? So I got this dumb fucking comment on YouTube from someone who led off with, well, actually, from my perspective as a veteran, and then proceeded to step on his dick and stumble fuck his way through my comment section, telling me that it was stolen valor. And when corrected on the origins of the Sons of Liberty logo, which is exactly what I just said before, he fucking doubled down and said, agree to disagree. So, no, it's not stolen valor. You can wear the merch. And if anybody gives you any shit, just point to where it says die mad about it. On that note, next question. What is the meaning behind the motto, die mad about it? It's literally just a phrase I say. It means exactly what it says. There's no special reason for saying it. There's no backstory on it other than just one day I was tired of someone's bullshit. And on that note, next question. You close your videos with 2 claps and a rick. What does that mean? Where did it come from? It's just a thing I do, same as die mad about it. That one actually comes from a summer camp for boys that I attended in the 80s and 90s that was located in Brevard, North Carolina. Next question. I see you drinking from a Battletech mug. Do you play Battletech? I play tabletop Battletech. I've owned and painted a number of their miniatures. I own a fuck ton of the TROs and other source books in PDF format. I've written Battletech fiction that was never published, and I own all of the MechWarrior video games except for the new MW5 Mercs title. Typically, I'm a fan of the Federated Sons because I'm a basic bitch. Next question. You've mentioned being kinky and fat lives and going to clubs and dungeons. Will you go into detail about some of your kinks? So this is a really, really personal question, but I got a lot of positive feedback for opening myself up in a past question and said it made me more personable. So I'm very kink friendly to a point where I don't kink shame furries. Not because I am one, I just don't believe in kink shaming. Some of my professional kinks, I'm an experienced shibari rigger. Shibari is basically rope bondage for all of you non-oblars. I'm also an experienced dom, and I've got big hands that know how to correctly leave a mark if you're picking up what I'm putting down. I'm going to avoid saying anything about porn because that's an aspect I don't really want anybody digging around in. I am married, and my wife has some kinks of her own that I'm not going to talk about because she occasionally watches some of my videos and it would be inappropriate. But I will throw a code word out there for the astute kink-minded individuals. Cuck cake. Next question, what's your favorite genre of music or artist? So my favorite metal band will always be Gojira. Those dudes have it down tight and they're political activists too. I'm a fan of guitar-driven stuff, the louder the better. I play guitar, bass, and drums, so I've been in a number of metal bands and rock bands. I like acoustic covers of stuff. I like punk covers of stuff. I like punk and ska in general. I also like classical music. In a past life, I've played cello and upright bass. I'm also a fan of the Wu-Tang Clan and some other rappers like Kevin Gates. Yeah, really. And other old school rappers ranging from like NWA to Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. Next question, can I be an anti-draft dodger and an anti-E4 cross-dresser, be a Democrat and still race my own car at the local track? Bro, you can be anything you damn well want to be. Just be safe doing it. Next question, if Trump loses the general 2024 election, will the Sons of Liberty continue to be politically active? I started the Sons of Liberty Facebook page in 2015, 2016, somewhere in there. Anyone who's not a deranged cultist knows that Trump lost the 2020 election and we continued our mission. I plan to stay active because the Democratic Party isn't perfect and it needs to be dragged kicking and screaming into the modern progressive age, in my opinion. Next question, are you AdminTim, the only admin that will be on camera? Never say never. Try to get the other admins to appear, but understandably a lot of them are hesitant because of the amount of death threats and threats to personal safety that we've had over the years, and I totally respect that. I'm not saying that I'm better than them, but when I say this, I mean, look at me. I'm not really afraid of anything anymore. Next question, what are your favorite horror films? I'm not really a fan of horror film. I'm not a horror film enthusiast anymore. It comes from PTSD. I did really enjoy The Witch, or The Witch. Now, on that subject, I'm actually an indie filmmaker, and I wrote, shot, edited, and submitted a psychological horror film for a 72-hour film race challenge. It's called Lilith, and my indie film company is called Bravo Whiskey Charlie Films. I didn't get to finish all of it because we couldn't find a location that I won't mention because spoiler alerts. But I would like to make a longer film and reshoot that whole thing. It's just that funding indie films requires crowdfunding, so that'll probably never happen. I don't know. Next question, are there any Daughters of Liberty? So the name Sons of Liberty is a historical entity from American history. I've started saying Fam of Liberty to be more inclusive. I'm aware that there is also a Facebook group called Sons and Daughters of Liberty, but I don't know anything about them or who they're run by or what they represent. Next question, I'm always curious to hear what veterans need from us. Serving in the military is just like any other job in America, except that you're deliberately volunteering to go to war if the shit hits the fan. I realize that a lot of leftists always have some snide shit to say about how we serve imperialist goals or whatever, but your beef there isn't with the troops, it's with the politicians that you elect, or maybe you don't elect because you protest voted or some dumb shit. But ultimately, I don't come to your fucking job at Starbucks and bitch about the unethical shit that your corporate overlords do, so don't be a pretentious twat, you little shit. Alright, page fans, that's all I've got for now. I want to thank everybody who submitted a question. Sorry if I missed yours or I just didn't get to it. This video is already running long. I may do another Q&A later on, so make sure that you like the Facebook page and set it to get notifications or add it to your favorites or whatever. Same thing applies with YouTube. Make sure to subscribe and set it to get notifications. On TikTok, a lot of our reach is hit or miss, but I'd appreciate a follow there as well. It's really hard to respond to TikTok comments. All of our social media details are coming up after what I call the throat punch. You'll understand why it's called the throat punch in just a minute. Until next time, 2 claps and a Rick. Woo! Next question, how can I as a left-leaning broach subjects with my right-leaning colleagues? What the fuck? So, no, it's not stolen valor. You can wear the merch, and if anybody gives you any shit, just point to where it says die mad about it. I'm not actually wearing the shirt right now, but you know, the fucking logo.